Being a creative sounds like a dream. And truly, coming from someone that works in the creative industry, it is. But I don't think it's the dream that most people believe it is. For some, it may mean not having to work a 9 to 5 and being more flexible, having more time for yourself. But it's a lot more complicated than that. Today, I want to break down the romanticized versions of having a creative career and tell you about the not so pretty parts, such as burnout, imposter syndrome, the constant battle about choosing business over passion, and how to balance that, and also what I wish I knew sooner before starting my career as a creative. Let's start with some of the biggest misconceptions about being a creative or working in the creative industry. I think one of the biggest ones is that as a creative, you are a lot of times vibing all day, looking for inspiration. It's not a lot of stress, and there's no real structure. But the truth is, being a creative means deadlines, contracts, revisions, and let's be real, questioning whether you're good enough all the time. Creative people are not always inspired. In reality, there are some days when you really have nothing left within you and you have nothing left to give. Like your brain is just empty, and what makes it worse is you don't have the luxury to wait for when inspiration strikes. You have to show up, you have to create, even when you feel completely uninspired. Another misconception is that being a creative is easy because it's not real work. Some people might say things, oh, you sing, you write, you make music, or you make videos all day. That sounds fun. And most creatives will say it is, but it's a lot of work. There's strategy, skills, revisions, handling clients, deadlines, and also handling criticism. And the last big misconception is that when you make it in the creative industry, that it gets easier from there. Nope, it does not. People may think that once you make it, you don't really have to hustle anymore and you kind of just sit back and relax and that's it. But the truth is, even when you get opportunities and everything's going well, you still have to prove yourself. You still have to prove that you've grown and you've developed as an artist or as a creative. And you still have to push for the next thing. So it's a constant cycle. One of the hardest things about being a creative is balancing what you want to make and what pays the bills. Sometimes the projects that bring in money aren't very satisfying and can be very stressful. And then the passion projects, the one that you love, don't bring money in at all. And I'm pretty sure for creatives that is oftentimes the case. Because when you start out, you have this euphoria and feeling like, wow, I love doing this. This is my passion. This is the life that I want to live. And then you get to a point where you're like, oh, wait, there are bills I need to pay, and not everything that I make pays the bills. And suddenly the things that you do for fun becomes your job. And here's the difficult part. Like, there have been many countless times as a creative where I had to do the jobs, whether it's in an office environment or freelance, that I don't like doing these jobs, even though it's practically what I like doing, which is creative work, but I just don't enjoy it and it does not align with me as an artist. But I have to do it because it pays the bills. Sometimes you have to take on projects because they're practical, even though it's not your dream. And I've come to learn that that's okay. It just means you're treating your creativity like a business, which is necessary if you want longevity. The real key is making sure you don't lose your own creative voice in the process. For me, I try to balance it. I take on projects that pay the bills, but I also spare time for projects that are for my own passion and creative fulfillment, even if they don't immediately make me money. Because when you stop creating for yourself, that's when the burnout kicks in. Speaking about burnout, burnout is such a real thing as a creative. When creativity is your job, it's hard to switch off. Sometimes you wake up and you feel like you don't have anything to give, and it's not just this physical exhaustion, but it's also this mental and creative exhaustion, like you have no fuel left. And when your job relies on creativity, that's when burnout starts to feel really scary. For me, burnout happens when I push myself too hard without giving myself any breaks. Like I overbook projects and I take on more than I can handle. I used to say yes to everything and just forget to breathe. And the worst part, when I used to take breaks, I would feel guilty, like I'm falling behind. And then there's imposter syndrome, which is that little voice in your head that says, you can't do this, you don't have the skills for this, you're lying to everyone about how good you are at your job. Why are you still doing this? Why are you still trying? Everyone's gonna find out that you're not actually good at this. That is imposter syndrome. And that little voice sometimes can be really loud. And I hate to break it to you, but I don't think imposter syndrome ever completely fully goes away. But I remind myself that everybody goes through this at some point, and the fact that I'm questioning myself means that I really care about what I'm doing. Even the most insanely successful people still deal with it. So, if you're dealing with burnout or imposter syndrome, my advice is take breaks before you hit a breaking point, set boundaries, and remind yourself that creativity is not a machine. It needs rest to function. If I could go back in time and give myself advice before starting my creative journey, it would be multiple things. One, that creativity is a muscle. You don't have to be inspired every day, but you do have to show up and practice. Two, your worth is not tied to your productivity. Just because you're not creating all the time does not mean you're failing. Three, not every project has to be life changing. Some things are just work and you don't have to pour your soul into everything. Seriously. Four, you will grow and evolve. The things you create now may not be the things you create 5 years from now, and that's a good thing. Don't get stuck in trying to perfect who you are now and just let yourself evolve. And the last thing is success is not a straight line. It's like, but it goes up, you know? You will have high points and you will have moments when you feel like you're starting from scratch. That's okay as long as you keep going. The light just turned off, but I'm almost done with this video. Anyways, so if you're someone who's trying to pursue a creative career, remember these things. Protect your passion and don't let the business side of everything ruin your love for creating. But also remember to learn the business side of things because talent alone does not pay the bills. Find balance, work on projects that pay you, but don't forget to do your passion projects that fulfill you creatively. Be patient. Creative careers take time, and there is no such thing as overnight success. I promise you that. And the most important thing, do not let your self doubt stop yourself from putting yourself out there. That's all that I have today. That's all that I have today, and I hope this inspires you more to create. Yes, the creative industry is not sunshine and rainbows, but it is a lot of fun, and I'm very grateful I chose this career path. So, good luck to you, and never stop creating. So, that's it. Like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the channel a lot. Bye.